Welcome to Sober Talk. I'm Dennis and I'm an alcoholic. Sober today thanks to Alcoholics Anonymous. If you or anyone you know is struggling with alcohol, please call Alcoholics Anonymous on 1300 222222 or visit their website at aa.org.au. I'll just run through the preamble of Alcoholics Anonymous. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of people who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problems and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for a membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. It is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses or opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics achieve sobriety.
We have a speakers meeting tonight, and Vanessa has agreed to be our speaker tonight, and she's celebrating 34 years of recovery. There is a car going around, and also Jeff is celebrating 24 years of recovery. So, everyone's still in the car, so it'd be great. Over to you, Vanessa.
Okay. My name is Vanessa. I'm an alcoholic addict, and thank you for inviting me to share my experience. And I'm quite humbled. I don't believe that I've, been coming to AA for this long and stayed sober. And yes, it's beyond words, really. Like I'm so overwhelmed, that this one day at a time, that's what I was taught at the beginning, one day at a time. I thought it would never add up, and the days have added up, and my life has changed so much since I came to Alcoholics Anonymous, and I got sober in 91, and there are no mobile phones and Facebook or anything like that back then. And it was all one alcoholic talking to another, where we have the similarities of talking with each other, and dissimilarities they call the herd instinct, and they should talk about that a lot when I first got sober. About how we gather, and that's how we're safe, because we move together, we stay together, we look after each other's interests. And when I was taken to meetings, that was the first time I felt safe. I remember sitting at an AA meeting. I felt safe, and I felt that there was some sort of stillness in the room that I felt. And the calmness that I'd never felt before, and I thought there's something about this place. There's something here, which I can't see and I can't explain, but I can feel there is something greater here than me, and so when I first I came from Perth, and I got done for DUI there, and I came here, and my husband came from here, and I was newly married with twins, and I got picked up for DUI again here, and they said to me, if we catch you drinking and driving again, we will take your children. And so that really did it, and my husband was really annoyed and said, "You better do something about this," and I didn't know what to do. And they said, "We're going to send a woman to take you to an AA meeting." And so that's what they did. I'd already been to an AA meeting in Perth, and I drank straight after that. Anyway, the detox center. And so anyway, they sent this woman to pick me up, and she took me to a meeting in the city. And And she said to me, listen to this man. And this man got up and he was pacing across the floor and he started pointing, are you an alcoholic? And it was like it was pointed right at me and I shrunk. And then he said, are you honest? And then I shrunk more. And then he said, do you believe in God? And then I virtually fell off the chair. And I just straightened up and I thought, what a scary man. I have to make sure I don't talk to him after the meeting. And anyway, at the end of the meeting, the room was really crowded with people and filled with smoke. And the next thing, I could see the room parting and this man was walking. He was walking straight at me, and he walked up to me and he put his hand out and said, hello, my name's Bluey Nolan and I can feel your fear. And as soon as he said that, I dropped his hand and I said to him, how do you know that? And he said, it's because I'm an alcoholic just like you. Do you have a big book? Do you have a 24-hour day book? I said, no. He said, if you give me your address, I will bring these books to you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And the next day at 9 a.m., I'm sitting there shaking and shivering, and at 9 o'clock and the doorbell goes, and he's at the doorbell with the books in his hand, and he sits down and he says to me, do you get lonely? And I just instantly started crying. And I never used to cry or try not to cry. And I just started crying overwhelmingly. I just couldn't stop crying. And I said to him, I'm just come over from Perth. I'm newly married. I have twins. And I got done for DUI. And I can't stop drinking. And I can't be a mother. I can't be a decent human being. And he said to me, I will help you. You will become the observer. You will come and help me open the meeting in North Adelaide. And you will, I will teach you how to set up the room and in the meeting. And you are not the main event anymore. And then I started crying more. And then he said to me, do you know the Serenity Prayer? And I've never heard of it. So he recited the prayer and I would say it after him and he held my hand. It was shaking. And he would say the Serenity Prayer. I learned the Serenity Prayer, saying it over and over and over with him constantly saying it till I knew the prayer. And repeatedly we would say it and my hands would stop shaking. And I noticed that it felt like there was somebody else in the room. When we used to pray all the time, he used to teach me how to pray all the time. He used to say, learn to pray, and you'll find that peace. And that peace and that understanding that goes beyond all understanding. And I was searching for that. My soul was searching for that all my life. I needed a place to rest because I'd been running all the time for years. I'd been running. I was lost. I felt lost. And so when I used to sit and pray with him, it felt peaceful and it felt quiet and it felt like there was a purpose in my life. And so he used to say to me, every time you feel scared and you feel like running, every time you feel like drinking, you say the Serenity Prayer and God will give you the courage and the strength to stay sober for the day. And that's what I used to do. I used to pray all the time, constantly. And he used to take you to meetings all around Adelaide and introduce me to people, to members that have been sober a long time. And he introduced me to Snowy, and I used to like sitting next to him because he was really calm, and I felt that I needed to be calm because I used to get so angry and so upset that the first thing I would think about is I've got to have a drink, So I used to sit next to Snowy a real lot at meetings and all that, and I used to pray for this calmness to flow into me so I could stay sober, because I knew being angry is just going to get me drunk again. I needed to be calm, and so they used to take me to meetings everywhere, and I used to wish that I was just a year sober. Like, I would be happy with that, I used to say. Anyway, so we kept going to meetings. And then one day I was at a meeting and this lady came up to me. She's going, "Oh, Vanessa," she's going, "how do you feel? You've been coming here for a year now." And I said, "Oh, have I?" And she said, "Yes, how do you feel?" I go, "Oh, really good. Oh, thank you very much." And I ran out the door. And I thought, I don't believe it. Always wanted to be a year sober. And so I decided that I don't need to go to AA meetings anymore. And so I went home and closed the big book, closed the 24-hour day book, stopped praying, stopped going to meetings. And within a short period of time, I used to go sit at these other people's houses, and they used to be drinking and using drugs and, all this yahoo and going on all the time, music blaring all the time. And I'd be sitting with all these people, and I thought, oh, well, at least I'm not drinking. But further down the track, I started to hear things, and I started to become really forgetful. I couldn't remember things at all. And as time went on, these voices in my head just got louder and louder and louder, and then my hands started shaking again really badly. And I used to get really, really scared. And so I thought, I remember them talking about this at AA meetings, that when you go insane, this happens, and people wind up at Hillcrest Hospital. And I go, oh, I hope that's not happening to me. So I ring up Hillcrest Hospital and I tell the nurse, oh, my heart's going 1,000 miles per hour and it's racing and I'm really scared and my hands are shaking. And she says to me, "You're having a nervous breakdown. You need to come in here straight away or we can come and pick you up." I said, "Oh, no, I'll come down there." So it just so happened that day we were having lunch with my Italian in-laws and all that. And, and I put the phone down and I started screaming hysterically. I was running around the table going, "I don't believe it. I've gone insane. I don't believe it." And then my Italian father-in-law walks in and he's going, Mamma mia, why you scream?" And I said, "I've gone insane. You have to take me to the hospital." And he said, "I tell you that when I first meet you. Why you no listen?" You go, "Andiamo, I'll take you." So he took me to Hillcrest Hospital. And then I sat, they gave me all these pills to swallow. And then I sat in this chair and I stared at the walls for 3 days. And then the doctor says to me, "We suggest that you go to an AA meeting here and talk to your people." And I thought, oh, do I have to go to a meeting? And he said, "It would be best. It's no good you sitting and staring at the wall." So anyway, this lady comes and takes me to the meeting. And then this lady at the meeting, she says to me, "Oh, I could help you." And I said, "You can't help me. No one can help me." And she says, "You've gone away. God hasn't gone away." And then when I went back to my room, I was sitting there and I was thinking, what did you mean I've gone away? And I fell asleep, and then I had these profound dreams about my childhood. And when I woke up, I had this compulsion to write. I had to write. And then I got this big writing pad and a pen and the AA book, the Bible, these medical books, and I started writing. And the pen just flowed continuously. I just wrote continuously. I can't write like that, but I did. And just continuously, page after page after page, I just wrote and wrote and wrote about my childhood. And then I got tired and I went to sleep. And then I would wake up and I would write again. And this went on for days. And then the nurse comes to me and she says, "What are you writing?" And I said, "I'm writing about my childhood." And she says, "How do you remember that? You couldn't remember your name when you first came in here." I said, "I don't know, but I have to keep writing." And so she went and I kept writing. And then the doctor came up to me and he said, "You can pack all this up and go home." And I thought, great, I better pack it up real quick before he changes his mind. And so I did. And then I went home. And when I went home, I walked straight out to the backyard and I looked up into the sun, and the light was so strong, like it was blinding me, and I could feel the intensity of the sun on my head was really, really strong. And it was like I saw these colors in the sky that I've never seen before. And the grass below felt like it was moving, like it was alive. And I had this feeling of newness, that my life was going to change. And I just had a real lot of energy. I could feel so much energy coming out of me, and I just felt that all is going to be well. I had this profound feeling that my life was going to change and things were going to get better. And then and my conscience was saying to me, "You must go back to AA meetings. That is the only way you will be safe." And that voice kept repeating itself all the time. And further that day, I went to the shop and I ran into this girl from AA. And she said to me, "Oh, I'll take you to an AA meeting. There's one just up the road." And so she took me to the Marion meeting. And I was sitting at the Marion meeting, and there was a man sharing about being in Hillcrest Hospital and how he used to talk to imaginary people and characters and things, and how he'd been sober for years because he came to AA. And it was incredible. And after the meeting, I was talking to him, and I told him that I'd just come out of Hillcrest Hospital. And he said to me that I should come to AA meetings more and I should do service work. And then, the next time I went to the meeting there, it just so happened that the secretary picked up a drink and they said, "Oh, you can be the secretary, Vanessa, come and help us out." And so I thought, "Oh, I'll help you out for a couple of weeks, since I'm not working, I'll help you out." And so I was the lunchtime secretary. And then I quite liked being the lunchtime secretary and getting used to all the members there and all that. And then I thought, this is doing me more good than opening the meeting. I felt so much better doing, being the secretary of the lunchtime meeting. And so I wound up staying there for 3.5 years. I was their lunchtime secretary. And then after that, I had to move house to Bedford Park. And by this stage, me and my husband weren't getting along really well. We were living in separate houses. And anyway, so I went to the Bedford Park meeting, and this guy there said, I said, "Oh, I'll help you out because I live really close by." And he said to me, "Actually, I need to go to Melbourne for 2 weeks. You can open the meeting while I'm away." I said, "Okay." So I opened the Bedford Park meeting, and this other girl that is just new came over from Port Lincoln, and she helped me, and we started the Bedford Park group. And And the guy that gave it to me, I didn't see him again for 2 years later. He walked in the door and he said, "Oh, Vanessa, it's good that you're still here." I go, "Oh, yeah, we've got a group going now and everything." I go, "Yeah, it's good." So anyway, I wound up staying at the Bedford Park group for like 14 years. That was really productive, Bedford Park. We did lots of service work there. And I stopped smoking there as well. I also did this interferon treatment there to get rid of the Hep C. And before I did the treatment, I started praying a real lot. Like about weeks before I started the treatment, and then when the treatment was for 7 months, and when I started the treatment, within 2 months, the virus had gone, and they said to me, "Oh, you're a miracle. You're a miracle. We'll like to put you down here. As one of our best clients and all that." And but I still had to complete the treatment for 7 months, and I lost a lot of weight, and my hair fell out, and things like that. But after that, I felt like I had so much energy again. It was incredible. Um, so a lot of service work and all that happened at Bedford Park, and then the virus happened, and then I had to move house, and I moved down south, down Morford Vale, and there was no midday meetings there. And I thought, why don't they have a meeting here? What is the matter with these people? And they said to me, "Don't complain. You want a meeting? Go open it and go find one." And so this day I got up really early, I put a suit on, and I went and knocked on the door of the Salvation Army, and I said to them, "I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I would like to open a midday meeting here." And the lady looked at me and she said, "That would help the community. When would you like to start this meeting?" And I couldn't believe it. She just gave me the keys, and so I opened the Keep It Simple meeting and wrote out the format and all that. And anyway, that meeting's still going now. And then I moved house again, and then I moved over north again for the first time, and then we opened the emotional sobriety group meeting. So I'm opening that now, and that's interesting as well. And we'll get a lot more people coming there now. So Alcoholics Anonymous has been instrumental in my life. It's played a big role, and it's kept me sober. And most of all, I've met the most interesting and helpful people that have helped me stay sober. It's been a journey, a really, very inspiring journey, Alcoholics Anonymous, and my life is completely different now, completely different. I've been so inspired by coming here and doing service work and going to meetings. I've always been a lover of going to AA meetings because I feel that it's a special place with special people, and God lives here. I've always felt that about AA meetings, special, and it's blessed. I feel blessed. I feel totally blessed to have experienced a sober life. I couldn't possibly ask for anything more. And actually, when I look back on all the years and all that, like it was when I ended up at Hillcrest Hospital and had all those, I was losing my memory, and I had those profound dreams about my childhood, and I still remember those dreams today. It's incredible. And ever since I had that experience, I've never been the same again. My whole life, everything about me has changed completely. And so that was a complete transformation. What happened there at Hillcrest Hospital, um, and Alcoholics Anonymous is that special place, of people that have recovered from a hopeless state of mind and body. And I truly believe that. And I believe in the sunshine of the Spirit. I believe that I have been given this special little place where I can sit in the sun, you know, and appreciate life to the fullest. So yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you.
AA has more than 2 million recovering alcoholics throughout the world. In Australia, there are about 18,000 members. They meet in over 2,000 local meetings spread around the country. Meetings range in size from a handful in some areas to hundreds or more in larger communities. And once again, if anyone you know is struggling with alcohol issues, please call Alcoholics Anonymous in 1300 222222 or visit their website on aa.org.au.